Donald Trump is blowing up at Israel and Iran this morning as the ceasefire agreement the two entered into overnight is hanging on by a literal thread. Leaving the White House this morning on his way to the NATO summit in Europe, Donald Trump said, quote, Israel and Iran don't know what the fuck they're doing. This morning, overnight, essentially, both Iran and Israel violated the ceasefire agreement, according to Trump. And this morning, Israel sent military planes back towards Iran, seemingly threatening to bomb Iran once again. Donald Trump lashed out at Israel publicly on Truth Social, essentially saying, I will be extremely upset. It will be a major violation if Israel were to go through and bomb Iran this morning. He followed up shortly thereafter saying Israel agreed to not to bomb Iran and instead will just do a friendly plane wave over the skies of Iran and then fly backwards. Now, there are reports that Israel still bombed part of Iran this morning, which would be a violation of the ceasefire agreement that the two entered into. But Donald Trump, speaking to White House reporters on C-SPAN, said the two countries have been at war for so long. They've been bombing each other and they've been hating each other for so long that they literally, quote, don't know what the fuck they're doing. And he's really in real time finding out that the Middle East can't just be solved in one quick move. We'll see what happens. So if you want to support my work, it's been a long several days. I'm going to continue reporting nonetheless, but I will be on a flight today for part of the day. So if you don't hear from me, that's why. So consider subscribing to my Substack by clicking the button below or sending a one-time donation to support via Venmo to Aaron-Parnas. In addition, a whistleblower complaint now alleges that a senior Trump Department of Justice official, Emile Beauvais, who was actually Trump's nominee to serve in a lifetime role on the Third Circuit Court of Appeals, well, he suggested ignoring court orders to advance the Trump administration's deportation efforts, essentially confirming what many of us have seen publicly all along. The complaint was filed by former Department of Justice lawyer Erez Reuveni, who describes a March 14th meeting in which Beauvais used explicit language proposing that the DOJ consider telling courts, fuck you, if judges tried to block planned deportations. He insisted that deportation flights should continue even if judges blocked them. And that's what happened. Remember, Trump invoked the Alien Enemies Act, and then Judge Boasberg said you can't send flights to El Salvador without sufficient due process. They sent people to El Salvador on flights anyways. Back to Israel and Iran. Israel struck targets in central Tehran hours before the ceasefire, killing hundreds of Iranian security forces. Iran retaliated with missile strikes targeting Be'er Sheva, which is a small town in Israel. 4 individuals were killed. A ceasefire did officially take effect. It is very fragile. It has been described as fragile by EU foreign policy chief, who urged renewed negotiations between the two nations. In Gaza, a Red Cross a staff member was killed, according to the Red Cross, the 5th since the start of the Israel-Hamas war. Trump is now saying that he does not seek regime change in Iran, warning that it would only lead to chaos. Trump also said that China can now buy oil from Iran despite U.S. sanctions under both his and Biden's administration sought to block such purchases. NATO Secretary General Mark Rutte urged greater military investment, warning it's unthinkable that Russia, with a much smaller economy, could outproduce NATO in arms as Russia is rearming itself with support from Iran, China, and North Korea. He said, we must spend more to prevent war. We must win this new war of production. Domestically, a U.S. Marine spoke about feeling betrayed after ICE agents arrested his undocumented father, who has no criminal record, at his landscaping job in California. ICE raids are now spreading across Southern California, and there is significant widespread fear in Los Angeles, with immigrants avoiding schools, work, and even not showing up to medical clinics. No-show rates at community health centers, according to The Guardian, have jumped from 10% to 30%. And healthcare providers are now warning that patients are risking serious health crises by avoiding care due to fear of ICE raids. The Trump administration is quietly trying to rehire federal employees and recalling some from leave after the DOJ layoffs. Experts are warning that these rapid rehires signal a dangerous loss of expertise across the federal government. It's almost as if everything we were warning the Trump administration is coming to fruition, and they're kind of backtracking. Republican Senator Bill Cassidy criticized RFK Jr.'s appointments to a federal vaccine advisory committee, calling for a delay in its next meeting until more qualified experts are added. Remember, Bill Cassidy is the reason RFK Jr. is the Secretary of Health and Human Services. He voted for him. Media Matters sued the FTC, alleging it was a target of investigation in retaliation for reporting on extremist content on Elon Musk's X. That's all the news right now. You want to support my work? Subscribe today, and I'll see you this evening.